Hello, this is Geometry, topic 3-2 over special angle pairs. First off, let's talk about perpendicular lines. When we talk about perpendicular lines, we're talking about the intersection of two lines that meet at a 90-degree angle. And if it meets at one 90-degree angle, then they are all 90-degree angles. So to apply that in example 1, this tells us that these are perpendicular, which means that this must equal 90. So 5x minus 5 equals 90. We go to solve this. 5x equals 95. And 95 divided by 5 is 19. And so, there we go with solving for x and perpendicular lines. Now let's talk about some other vocabulary terms. Both of these vocabulary terms deal with when we have two lines that intersect. Now they could be perpendicular, but they don't have to be, and so I didn't draw them this way. And the first thing we're talking about are vertical angles. These are non-adjacent angles formed by intersecting lines. And this is important. Now this is one pair of vertical angles. We have another pair if we talk about these two angles. Then we have a linear pair. And these are adjacent angles, means they're side by side. And they basically form a line. Okay. You may just see this part of the picture. You may see the whole thing. But it's two adjacent angles that make 180 degrees to make a line. Think of it as a line pair. Well, let's see how we can use these. Vertical angles are always going to be congruent. If you have two angles that are opposite of each other out of intersecting lines, they are congruent, which helps us solve example number 2. Because these are vertical, that means they're congruent, and I can go 2x plus 20 equals 3x plus 15. So I will subtract 2x from both sides and get that 20 equals 15. 20 equals x plus 15. Subtract 15, and I get that x equals 5. But be careful, it doesn't just want x, it also wants EBA, which was 2x plus 20. So 2 times 5 plus 20 would be 10 plus 20 is 30. So the measure of angle EBA is 30. Now for linear pairs, our special rule is that they are 180 degrees, which means that they are supplementary. So if we take a look at example number 3, these are supplementary, which means I can do 5x plus 10 plus 7x plus 20 equals 180, which means 12x plus 30 equals 180, 12x equals 150, and 150 divided by 12 is 12.5, and so that's the value of x. Well, now we just plug those in because we want to know these two angles. Well, LMO would be 7 times 12.5 plus 20, which is 107.5. And 5 times 12.5 plus 10, which is 72.5. So, the measure of angle LMO is 107.5, and the measure of angle OMN is 72.5, and those are both in degrees. And so that's how you can use a linear pair to find the measure of angles. Now looking at example 4, they want us to first find the value of x. Well, these are vertical angles, so I can just do 16x minus 20 equals 13x plus 7, because these are congruent. Work it out, subtract 13x, I get 3x minus 20 equals 7, add 20, 3x equals 27, which means that x equals 9. But now they want the measure of JIH. They want to know this angle. Well, I can't find this angle unless I know one of these. So I'm going to go ahead and just do 13x plus 7, which would be 13 times 9 plus 7. And that will give me 124. So this angle is 124 degrees. Well, I know that these are a linear pair. So I know that this angle, which I'm going to call y, okay, angle y, I know that it has to be, it plus 124 have to equal 180. So if I subtract 124, I get that my angle y, which is angle JIH, equals 56. I'm going to go ahead and just relabel this as JIH. And so I don't have to ask you for one of these angles. I could ask you for an angle that is not being shown. Now, let's go ahead and have a look at this. The sum of measures angle LMO and OMN is 180. Two angles whose angles measure 180 are called supplementary, which I've already mentioned. And similarly, if the sum of angles is 90, then it is complementary. So let's take a look at what this means for example 5. 1 and 2 are complements. So that means that angle 1 plus angle 2 equals 90. Now here they give me the measure of angle 1, so I'm going to replace that with 2x plus 20, plus the measure of angle 2, which is 3x plus 15, and we're going to set that to 90. Go ahead and use some algebra. 5x plus 35 equals 90. 5x equals 55, which means that x equals 11. Complements means that they are complementary. Set them, add them together and make them equal to 90, and then solve. Now for example 6, I'm given one picture and I need to find several angles. Well, I'm looking at all of this and I'm trying to figure out what the measure of angle 1, 2, 3, and 4 are. Well, I'm not going to mess with angles 1 and 4 because I can see very clearly that this and this, those are vertical angles. Okay? So angle 2 is 110. And the reason for this is that it's vertical to the measure of the angle that's 110. And I'm looking at angle 3, and I'm thinking, well, hey, that's vertical to the 45. This must be 45 degrees, again, because we're talking about vertical angles. Well, now let me think for a moment. Angles, this one, plus this one, plus this one, this makes one straight line. So that means that 45 plus 110 plus, I'm going to say this is x degrees, has to equal 180. So 45 plus 110 is 155, plus x is 180. And 180 minus 155 tells us that x equals 25. So the measure of angle 4 would be 25 degrees. And I found that out by using a line. And now measure of angle 1 is opposite measure of angle 4. So this is vertical. So it's also going to be 25 degrees. Now, I didn't solve these in order, and I don't expect you to always solve them in order, but you can if you prefer. I always say go ahead and get the easiest ones first and fill them in so that you can figure out the hard ones later. Now we have one more example, and that is that CD being perpendicular to AB, so that's a right angle, and I know that this is 6x minus 3, and this is 7x minus 11, and I need to figure them out. Well, hey, if this is 90, that means that this must be 90. And if this is 90, that means these must be complementary. So angle 1 plus angle 2 must equal 90. So 6x minus 3 plus 7x minus 11 equals 90. That gives us 13x minus 14 equals 90. 13x equals 104. And when we divide that by 13, we get that x equals 8. And double check, make sure it matches. They only asked for the measure of x, so that is all that I had to find. Good luck on your assignment, and have a great day.